Hey folks, welcome back to our channel. My name is Nigel and this is Offgrid Van Life, where we look at van conversions, Offgrid Power, lithium iron phosphate batteries, and basically everything in between. And we want to help you to convert a van, build out something awesome, hit the road and find adventure. And while you're doing that, to have an epic electrical system that can power anything that you need, whether that's to run a coffee machine, an espresso machine, an induction cooktop, microwave, anything that you can think of. We want to help you with that sort of stuff. So we cover loads of stuff on this channel, and in this video we are back in our van build series of this Nissan NV400. If you've been following along, I'm documenting the entire process of building out this van, and so in this video we're going to be talking about sound deadening. So in the last video, we started the process of insulating, and you may notice that the insulation is now removed from this panel here, which is where I started, and I'll explain about that now. But we're looking at the electrical stuff, so you can see all of the wires here. Still a couple of things to do there just to finish that off, but we pretty much are there. So let's talk about this section here that I started insulating last week. So once I had done that, although I'd mentioned in the video last week that I was happy with how it was looking, when I inspected it a bit further, I noticed that some of the foam had not set as well as I would have liked. And so I'm just going to take this point now to just mention how the cans of foam, sometimes depending on what you get, they can be a bit hit and miss in terms of the quality and how well they're set. So sometimes they don't, it looks like it's really good, sprays out in big quantities, and then it kind of retracts and then goes more to like this weird sticky substance, which is a little bit strange as to why it does that. And there's a few reasons that people say as to why it does that, but it's not great, because then you lose the sort of buoyancy or the loft that provides the insulation of that stuff. So that's the first issue that I had there. There was a couple of cases, especially down here. It's probably just due to me being a little bit fast probably in applying it. Didn't have time to set properly. And then the second reason is that rookie error really was that when I bought the foam, although I had checked on the Amazon listing that it was a fire grade foam, didn't actually look at it carefully in detail on the can and really delve into that. And after I'd sprayed it, I had a couple of people suggest to me, hey, you should check out and just make sure that that's a fire grade foam, because if you don't get the fire grade expanding foam, then it can be quite a risk. And when I looked at it, it was the grade B3, which is not fire grade, and it is quite flammable. Now, a point on that, all expanding foam is much more flammable when you first put it into the vehicle, because the chemicals are still fresh that cause it to react the way it does. As time goes on, even the non-fire grade foam, i.e. B3, as time goes on, they become less and less flammable, and they take longer to ignite, etc., etc. And so obviously time is your friend with those sort of things, in terms of them becoming less flammable, but ultimately you really want to be very careful and make sure that you use the right foam. So just as a point of caution, do not use the same foam that I used in the last video. And if you're interested in seeing what that is, then I will link the last video at the top of the description here, and you can just check that, but don't use that foam. So let's draw a line under that. Do not use that. I have since then removed the foam, firstly to remove the risk of the fire, because it's not fire grade foam that I used initially, and secondly, which is really what we're going to be covering in this video, is the sound deadening. Now, all of this expanding foam does offer some level of sound deadening. It's not the same as actually using sound deadening strips, or whatever you call them, the little sheets that you stick onto the side of your van. And once I'd put that in, I wasn't satisfied with the sound deadening I was getting from the foam, and so that contributed to a large part as to why I removed the foam, and have opted for doing it again. Unfortunately, and it's actually quite a good point as well, as if you're unsure of what you're doing in your van, and you're trying new materials and stuff like that, don't be scared to try something small that's non-destructive like this, where it was a type of foam that I hadn't used for this purpose before. So I thought, hey, let's just try this out and just see what that looks like. And so I've removed it now. And so what we're going to be doing now is actually sound deadening the van. So I bought some sound deadening sheets that I'm going to be sticking all over the place. And then in the next video, after this one, we're going to be actually insulating this. I have a new foam product, so I'm again sticking with my plan of having an expanding foam insulation, but I'm just going for a slightly different option. So I'll talk through more about why I chose that option and cover that in the next video. But for this one, let's crack on and sound deaden this van. Let's go. So this is the type of mat that I'm using. So this is made by a company called Dodo Soundproofing. It's a British soundproofing company. And actually, just as an aside, these guys are actually based very close to our England workshop where my dad is located. They're in Oxfordshire. And so it's some sort of rubberized sound deadening. Has a sticky adhesive on the one side. You pull it off, obviously, and you can cut this up in various things. So for example, along this panel here, I'm going to cut one of these down the length, and I'm going to stick it in here one and one. And it's pretty straightforward. Basically, the idea is that you cut these in certain sizes and stick them anywhere where there's some vibration. And essentially what it is, offers two things. One is it takes the vibration out of the panels, out of the walls of the van. So on this door here, as you can see just in the section here, there's actually sound deadening in here that came from the manufacturers. So it takes out some of that sort of knocking, whereas the side here where there isn't any sound deadening makes a big difference having that there. So that's essentially what it does. It's sort of rubberized mat that takes out that noise, and then with the sort of honeycomb hexagonal type shapes on here, it also offers some sort of acoustic deadening as well, in terms of the way that the sound waves bounce off this stuff. So obviously I'm not a soundologist or anything like that, but I do understand some of the science behind it. So we're going to crack on with getting this installed, and we'll see how it turns out and what it does. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually just wipe out this surface just to make sure that it's nice and clean. There's no oil residue or sort of damp or condensation or anything like that. It looks pretty good to me, but I'm just going to wipe it with a bit of blue roll just to be double sure. And then I'm going to cut it lengthways, just pretty much straight down the middle. And I'm just eyeballing this. I'm not drawing a line or anything like that. And then I'm just going to stick it on here. Okay, so here we are, folks. We have the sound deadening all over here. So around the windows, down there, the section where we pulled off what we did last week, around this window as well, all the way on the doors as well, inside the door panels, on there, up there, and inside this door as well. And it's already making a huge difference. When I tap the walls and I compare just audibly how loud and sort of echoey it was before I put this stuff in, it's definitely made a huge difference already. So pretty pleased with that, and I'm glad that I made the decision to pull out that old foam and put sound deadening in. And obviously with the mistake that I made of buying the wrong foam, I'm glad that I caught that early on, so I'm able to change it. So yeah, thanks for watching. In the next couple of videos, we're going to be cracking on with the insulation in here. So next thing I think I'm going to do, just while I'm waiting for the foam to arrive, it's the joys of living in Northern Ireland and being based here, is that just stuff takes so much longer to get here. You just really don't get next day delivery like you do in the rest of the UK. So realistically, we're waiting like 2-3 days to get stuff. So if you order it too late in the week, then that's pushing out to the next week. So yeah, it just causes some delays. being based over here, but I'm going to be insulating the doors and then starting to put in vapor barriers. So I've decided that I am going to put a Reflectix vapor barrier over the top of all the insulation that I put into this fan. So yeah, lots to do, and we're making progress. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.